Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, student. I am physics teacher from IYS. Now, first of all, I'm just going to clear the instruction. Don't raise hand during lecture. Ask question at the end of the lecture in chat box only. Use hand free if you are using mobile and headphone for computer use. Feed your ID and password properly with your name and class. Take care of time for attending the class. Home tasks should be done in your fair copy of the subject. If there is any disconnectivity during the lecture, try to join lecture again within 5 to 10 minutes. Student, today we are just going to start the new chapter, chapter number 3, and the name of the chapter is Kinematics of Linear Motion. In this chapter and during this time, we will discuss about the rest and motion. Number 2, we will discuss about the types of motion. Number 3, we will discuss about the scalar and vector quantity. And the last, we will state and explain about the distance and displacement. I hope so you know very well about that. Now, first of all, we are just going to define the term mechanics, and you have learned in the first chapter. In first chapter, it was in the branch of the chemistry. We can say that mechanics, it is a branch of physics which deals with the motion of object with or without reference force. Here we can say that in our environment, if we observe that most of the things are in a state of the rest, or most of the things are is in motion. Now, how the object is going to be moved mean that required any that required the force to move the object, or we can say that required the energy to move the object. So we can say mechanics is a branch of physics which deals with the motion of object with or without reference force. So mechanics can be divided into the two branches. Mechanics can be divided into two branches. The first we can say the kinematics, and the second one we can say the dynamics. Mean, if you observe that according to the definition of the mechanics, we have learned that with or without reference force. So that's why according to the definition, we are going to bifurcate it in kinematics and dynamics. Kinematics, we can say that it is a branch of mechanics in which it deals with the study of motion of the object without reference word. Mean, in the kinematics, or in this chapter, we will discuss about the motion of the object without reference word. Mean, here we are not going to discuss about that why the object is going to be moved, by which force the object is going to be moved, mean which force we are applying on the object to move. So in the kinematic, we just have to be discuss about the motion of the object without reference force. So in this regard, we can say that we have to be discuss about the types of the motion, speed, distance, displacement, velocity, acceleration, etc. Mean, some words you are or we are using in our life, and we are listening about that. We are hearing about that, but we cannot be understand by which branch of the physics it is just going to be related. Mean, if we observe our environment, then we can say that some of the object is moving in a straight line, some of the object is moving in revolution or circular path, some of the object is moving on its axis. So we are unable to understand what is this according to the physics. Now somehow we can say, ask, what is the speed of your car, what is the speed of your motorcycle? So here we are using the term speed, but we are unable to know that by which branch of the physics it is related. As well as someone asks how many distance you have been covered. So we are using the term distance, but we are unable to define or describe the distance. So by which branch of the physics it is related, as well as displacement, velocity, acceleration, etc. So we are discuss about that in this session. Now, first of all, if we observe that the two things come in our life, the first one, object in a state of rest. So, some question will come in our mind, what is rest? So, we can say that a body is said to be at rest if it does not change its position with respect to its surrounding. Again, I'm repeating, a body is said to be at rest if it does not change its position with respect to its surrounding. Mean surrounding means the environment. If we are going to suppose that, okay, in our drawing room having the curtain, when the fan is not going to be on, the curtain is at the position of rest. Why? Because no force is applying on it. But when we are on the fan and fan is going to be rotate or move, so after a few minutes the curtain is going to be moved. Mean the surrounding force is acted upon it, then the curtain is come into the motion. As well as we can say that, okay, someone, we are putting a book on the surface of the table. So it will not change its place unless an other force is acted upon it. So we can say the motion of the body will come according to the surrounding, otherwise the object will in a state of the rest. So another example we can say that, okay, the passenger sitting in a moving bus are said to be at rest with respect to the driver of the same bus because their position do not change with respect to the driver. Mean driver is just going to operate the vehicles, so the vehicle is in motion, but the passenger are in a state of the rest. So we can say a passenger is in state of the rest according to or with respect to its surrounding. Now, another example we can say that a book laying on a table, placed in a room, and a person sitting on a chair are the good example of the body, which I have told you in the previous one. And I hope so you can be understand about the definition of the rest and its example. Also, I'm just going to repeat it. Rest, we can say that if a body does not change its place with respect to its surrounding, then we can say the object in state of the rest. Now, another thing which come in our mind, that is the motion, or we can say motion is the reciprocal of the rest. So we can say that the question is, what is motion? What is motion? Something when we are open in our eyes, then some question will come in our mind. What is this? How is it? What it will be? So when the term motion come in our mind, so we can say that what is motion? So motion, we can say a body is said to be in motion if it change its position with respect to its surrounding. Again, I am repeating the word or definition. A body is said to be in motion if it change its position with respect to its surrounding. How? I was give you the example of the curtain in the drawing room. That is a very good example. Mean curtain is at rest when it is not taking the environment or in the surrounding force. But when we are opening the fan, then this surrounding getting the wind, and by the wind force the curtain is going to be moved. The curtain is going to be in motion. So we can say according to surrounding, according or with respect to its surrounding, the object is come into the motion. Now, for example, I was give you in the example of the rest, the passengers sitting in a moving bus are said to be in motion with respect to an observer standing outside the bus. Let's suppose if we are on the spot of the bus stand, when some car or bus is moving in front of her, then we can say that the object is in motion because the observer is looking the object in the motion. But if we are sitting inside the vehicle, then we can say the car or vehicle is in motion, but the passenger or the driver in state of the rest. So we can say that the passengers sitting in a moving bus are said to be in motion with respect to an observer because observer is standing outside the bus. That's why it is looking the passenger is in motion. Now, another example of the motion, we can say that a bus moving near a bus stop, a bird flying over a tree are example of a body in motion. Again, I'm repeating, a bus moving near a bus stop, a bird flying over a tree are example of a body in motion. Again, I'm just going to give you an example. Let's suppose some birds are sitting on a spot, but someone is going to there, so it is just going to move, and yes, it is going to fly. Why? Because it is just going to understand someone is coming here. So the object will come into the that mean according to their surrounding, they listen the some sound and it is just going to fly. Now, if we can observe that, then we can say there is a relative rest and motion. Mean there is a relation between the rest and motion. Either the object is in a state of rest, or either the body or the object will come into the motion. So we can say rest and motion are relative terms. Rest and motion are relative terms. Either the object will come into the rest, either the object will come into the motion. So another example, we can say that the relative rest and motion, a passenger sitting in a moving bus is at rest because he or she is not changing his or her position with respect to other passenger or object in the bus. But to an observer outside the bus, the passenger and the object inside the bus are in motion. Mean the observer will see the passenger is in motion, but the passenger inside the vehicles are in a state of the rest. So we can say at the moment there is a relation between the rest and motion. I think so, student, you will try to understand it, and maybe most of the students have been understand. Now, the next one we can say types of the motion. Mean if we observe in our surrounding, then we have been observed that there are the different types of the motion. Mean different objects move differently. Some objects move in a straight line, some move in a curved path, and some move in other different way. So we can say that there are three types of motion. The first one is said to be the translatory motion, or we can say that is the linear motion. The second one we can say that is a rotatory motion. Third one we can say that is the vibratory motion. I'm just going to repeat it. Mean there are three types of motion. The first one we can say translatory motion. Second one we can say rotatory motion. Third one we can say vibratory motion. Now, what is the translatory motion or linear motion? We can say that linear motion, we can say that if a body move whole particle of the body from one point to the another point, then it is said to be the translational motion or straight line motion or linear motion. Again, I'm repeating, okay, if the total particle of the body move from one point to the another point, then it is said to be the translatory motion. Either it can be on the linear or either it can be on the circular motion. In both of the cases, whole part of the body is going to be moved from one point to the another point. Let's suppose that if a car is moving from point A to B, so whole part of the car is going to be moved. It is never become like that. Okay, front wheel of the car go on, after that middle part of the car going on, and the last one, the last wheel of the car is going on. But it is not possible. So we can say the total particle of the car is moving from one point to the another point. That's why it is said to be the translatory motion or translational motion, or we can say linear motion. Now, I'm just going to reading the definition. In translational motion, a body moves along a straight line. The line may be straight or curved. Straight, we can say in a straight line, and curve, I was told you that that is the circular motion. Now, for example, a car moving in a straight line is in translational motion. I was told you that. And a train moving along a straight line also has the translational motion. Now, the next type of the motion is said to be the rotatory motion. Rotatory motion we also have to be seen in our daily life, like that the motion of the wheels, the motion of the steering. Okay? So we can say that is said to be the rotatory motion, or we can define it if a body moving around its axis. If a body moving around its axis or about its axis, then we can say it is said to be the rotatory motion. Or another definition we can say the spinning motion of a body about its axis is called its rotatory motion. Again, I'm repeating, the spinning motion of a body about its axis is called its rotatory motion. Mean, let's see that this is wheel and the middle point is that. So this wheel are going to move or rotate at this point. So this is said to be the axis. So an axis is a line around which a body rotates. So this is a point where this wheel is going to be moved. Another example we can say the motion of a wheel about its axis and that of a steering wheel are the example of rotating motion. Wheel is also moving on their axis. So either it can be rotated on the right hand side, either it can be rotated on the left hand side. But steering is moving on their axis. Now, this is the third type of the motion. The first one, we can say that vibrating motion. To and fro motion of the object is said to be the vibrating motion. To and fro motion of the object is said to be the vibrating motion. And we have observed in the park, there is a swing. So the person which is sitting on the swing, it is just going to go away and go behind. So we can say that is the to and fro motion of the object. Now here, vibrating motion is back and forth, mean to and fro motion on an object. Also, you have to be consider it. Vibrating motion is also on their axis, but the difference is that vibrating and the rotating means in the rotating it is just going to taking the 360 direction, but in the to and fro motion it is just going to take 180 180 degree, not to going to move completely. To and fro means forward, back and forth, or other words we can say to and fro. So here, for example, a swing set, it vibrates back and forth as you swing it. Motion of the pendulum of a clock is also the example of vibratory motion. So we have seen the pendulum clock in our mosque. So this pendulum is going to and fro. This pendulum is going to and fro. So this motion is also said to be the vibrating motion. Now, if we have discussed about the physical quantity, then we can be divided into the 2 points. Either it is said to be the scalar quantity, either it is said to be the vector quantity. Mean there are two types of the physical quantity. The first one is said to be the scalar and the second one is said to be the vector quantity. Now, what is the scalar quantity in your mind? Scalar quantity, we can say that the quantity which are completely specified by their magnitude and unit are called scalar quantity. Again, I am repeating. The quantity which are completely specified by their magnitude and unit are called scalar quantity. So, the example of the scalar quantity are mass, length, time, distance, speed, work, energy. Now, now I'm going to describe about the magnitude and the unit. Now, magnitude we can say numerical value, mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. Either it can be positive, either it can be negative. So that is said to be the magnitude. Magnitude, we can say that that is the numerical value. And unit means that is represented to the physical quantity, like we have learned in the second chapter, uh, meter, kilogram, second, Newton. These are the some example of the unit. So here we can say that is the example. Length of car is 4.5 meter. Length of a car is 4.5 meter. So here length is a physical quantity, 4.5 is a magnitude, and meter is the unit. Length is a physical quantity, 4.5 is the magnitude, and m is the yani meter is the said to be unit. Now here, mass of gold bar is 1 kg. So mass is the physical quantity, 1 is the magnitude, and kg is a unit of the mass. Time is 12.76 second. Time is a physical quantity, 12.76 is the magnitude, and second is the unit. So these are the some example of the scalar quantity. Now we are going to discuss about the vector quantity. The quantity which are specified by their magnitude, unit, and direction are called physical quantity. Mean for the vector quantity, direction is more most important to describe the quantity. So we can say the quantity which are specified by their magnitude, unit, and direction are called physical quantity. And the example of the physical quantity: force, displacement, velocity, acceleration, torque, momentum. These are the some example of the vector quantity. Let's suppose if someone is saying with you, okay, I'm applying the force. So you will ask where you are applying the force. Either you are applying the force upward, downward, right hand side, or left hand side. So upward, downward, right side, left hand side, all of that are showing the direction. Mean whenever you will not clear the direction, so the term force will not be completed. Same as that, if you say "Okay, I have been covered some distance, or we can say a 10 kilometer distance, so you will ask where. Mean what is the direction where you are going to do when you are going on. So if to describe it, I just have to be covered the distance or 10 kilometer distance from this point to that point, or in the direction of east, or in the direction of the west, or in the direction of the north, or in the direction of the south. Or you can also say that we have covered 10 kilometer from Malir 15 to the Sadar. So that is showing the direction. Now here the example is that displacement from USA to China is 11,600 kilometer. So displacement is the physical quantity, east is the direction, and 1160 is the magnitude, and kilometer is showing the direction. So kilometer is a unit of the length or distance. So that is said to be the vector quantity. Now, we can be describe difference between scalar and vector quantity. We can say the first one is the definition. The quantity we describe by their magnitude and unit is called scalar quantity. We have learned, student. Second one, the quantity which described by their magnitude, unit, and direction is called vector quantity. We have learned in the previous one. Now, scalar quantity can be added or subtracted by simple arithmetic method. Mean here we can say the scalar quantity can be added or subtracted. Scalar quantity can be added or subtracted by the arithmetic mean. And we can say vector quantity can only be vector quantity can be added or subtracted by geometrical or trigonometric method. So we can say that addition or subtraction of the vector quantity not possible according to the scalar quantity, because it just having the head-to-tail rule or geometrical method. Now the third one is scalar quantity can be represented by a number. Mean scalar quantity can only be represented by a number, while vector quantity can be represented by directional line segment, The symbol for a vector is a capital letter with arrow over it. Mean, let's see, the physical quantity is force and there is a arrowhead. So arrowhead will show the direction of the physical quantity. Okay, student, just now note down the home task. The first question is that you just have to be define the following term: rest and motion. And the second one is you have to, the first one is the rest and the second one is the motion. The second question is that write down the three difference between a scalar and vector quantity. And it is just going to present in the slide 80, while the definition of the rest and motion is present in slide 6.